Welcome back again, everyone, to the Fawn Pod. It's friends occasionally not disagreeing. This is Cody. I'm here again with Dave, Joe, Alexis, and Dan, and we're here for our second episode, wrapping up our Ben Folds discography examination. We talked about the collaborations, the Ben Fold 5 albums, and some other things he did in the last episode, but this time it's all about the solo works. And we're going to kick it off with a big fight here in just a minute, but let's see if there's anything else our hosts have been up to since we talked to them last week. What do you guys have for us? Anything new you want to plug or have been up to?
I have a second show to recommend on top of Pluribus from last episode. It's called The Chair Company. It's on HBO. It stars Tim Robinson of I Think You Should Leave fame. If you're a fan of his, you're gonna love it. If you're not a fan of his, you're gonna love it. It's a really, really, really funny show about an insecure guy who is making a big presentation at work in front of a bunch of people. It goes really, really well. And then he sits down on his chair on the stage, and the chair collapses and he falls, and everyone laughs at him. And that becomes like the only thing he can focus on for the rest of the series, and how that chair company is up to no good. And then it turns out they actually are up to no good. It's a whole rabbit hole of a show that's really worth watching, and is so funny.
Oh, the Chair Company?
The Chair Company on HBO. There's like 4 episodes out now with more to come.
I'll write that down since I actually have HBO.
Ew. Since we're never going to actually get around to doing a podcast episode about it, I wanted to mention a video game I've been playing called Hollow Knight: Silksong.
That's your own fault. Just play faster.
The long-awaited follow-up to Hollow Knight by Team Cherry. I love this game. Spoiler alert, I think it's a masterpiece, even though I am still probably pretty far from finishing it. It is very difficult, frustratingly so at times. There have been many occasions where I wanted to throw my controller at the screen or something else. But I feel like every time I get to that point, I take a break and I come back, and it's like something just unlocks in my mind and I get past whatever the previous obstacle was. So, I mean, I've seen a lot of people online complain about the difficulty of this game and saying that it caused them to quit, and I get that, but I don't really feel like I've encountered anything yet that I thought was like totally insurmountable or like completely unfair. I think it's a matter of, I think they give you all the tools that you need, but you just need to remember that you have them, or like occasionally like you might just not have gotten something that you need to get past a particular section yet. But I think I like it better than Hollow Knight. Like there's more of a compelling, straightforward narrative because the player character in this one actually talks, unlike in Hollow Knight. So you can have dialogues with different NPCs. It feels like it kind of fleshes out the world a lot more, and I have just been really loving it so far. So I mean, unless I end up actually finishing it and the ending is like completely terrible for some reason, I do think it's kind of a masterpiece.
It was all a dream.
For those complaining about it being hard, get good.
It's true.
That's fair. Anybody else up to anything?
I fixed my toilet.
Oh gosh, Dan, that's
big
really
news.
Important.
I know.
That's really important.
That's the end of it.
Once Joe,
what was wrong with your toilet there, Dan?
One of the screws to the ground had come off.
Oh,
like it was like misaligned or something. So totally had to come off, re-put it on, put the new wax seal on. But
I was going to ask if you had to replace the wax seal.
Oh, always.
Was it like leaking?
It was leaking a little, yeah.
Gross.
It was.
Well, good job on that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Did you do that between us just now? Because that's
podcast episodes.
No, I ironically
was really fast.
I did a couple hours before I took a nap, and then I woke up to Cody being like, "Are you coming to the episode?" I was like, I spent a little bit of my brain farts earlier.
That's awesome. I just read a book that you guys probably won't care much about, but it was called The Women. It's by Kristen Hanna, and it's about nurses in Vietnam and them coming back and kind of receiving the same, kind of welcome that Vietnam vets got, which was people hating them and throwing things at them and not being so nice. And it was a really terrible, traumatic experience for everybody. And it's based on a true story. And it's pretty interesting. And I'm a nurse and I loved it. And that's a lot coming, when anybody writes or talks about medical stuff, you're always like, that's not true. That didn't happen. But this is like a great book. So I recommend it for anybody who's into like historical fiction. So
Ask Alexis about the blood transfusion scene from Lost.
Oh my God.
I would like to hear your thoughts on the blood transfusion scene from
Okay,
Lost.
so have you seen that episode? Have you watched
sure
it?
I've repressed it.
Okay,
yes.
With
so
Ben Folds?
no. Okay, so just very quickly, I'm so sorry, guys. So Jack uses a reed that he found in the woods on the island to transfuse blood into someone.
Are you saying
That's
Lost might not be the most
very
accurate
bad
show?
idea.
I thought isn't it a spike from like a sea urchin? That he
No,
like
I'm pretty
off?
sure. Well, maybe it was.
I
Either
think
way,
I
Dave,
think it's
it was
that.
not a good idea to
Sure,
use.
sure.
It would kill you,
But that
quickly.
island has magical healing properties.
I guess. Okay. Anyway,
And a goat. No, sorry, it's a donkey.
that's what I've been up to.
All right. Over here, I'll just blurb a very dangerous situation that is possibly playing out at my house. So I will just mention it here publicly. As I have probably for the last year and a half, basically conquered the Funko hobby at this point. I've kind of been getting the itch to try something new. And I have a short list of things I was looking at, but right now, what I am starting to look at is completing my run of original G.I. Joe comics from the 80s and 90s, of which there's only 155, and I have like half of them already from when I was a kid, but I never really took the time to inventory which ones I was actually missing before, which I did 2 nights ago, and stopped at a few comic shops yesterday on the way home and managed to buy 6 that I needed. So I might be working my way through that and possibly getting into the toys from the 80s, but I'm not sure about that because they're really expensive. So
Tell me you're a middle-aged white man with disposable income without telling me you're a middle-aged white man with disposable income.
I know.
It's like Funko's entire business model.
It's true. That's why I own the company. But anyway, all right, well, let's do this. Today we are chatting about the solo albums here for Ben Folds. We got 6 of them on tap, counting the ever wonderful last album that we'll get to at the end here today. And just to kind of recap, people may not have tuned into the last episode. First of all, go tune into the last episode. But if you haven't, we're each kind of picking our favorite song off the album and then mentioning any honorable mentions we may have as well. But before we get to that, I'm going to give our hosts a chance to talk about some experiences they've had listening to Ben Folds live or other songs we didn't feature on the podcast due to the discography we chose. So who'd like to share something here? Who wants to cry first? Counting on a tear here from somebody.
Dave, you got this. You don't have to follow me on this one.
I think my Ben Folds live experience does pale a bit compared to Joe and Alexis, sorry. I've never been 5 feet away from his crotch, unfortunately.
You're missing out.
But I have seen him twice. Once was back in like the early 2000s at Ravinia, which was nice. And then I saw it in orchestra in Milwaukee, right near the hotel where they got married. So that was
Milwaukee.
fun. And a couple other times I've meant to see him or had tickets and it didn't work out. But I'm always up for seeing Ben. Especially, I do like his orchestra shows a lot. That's something really special in my mind that he does. And even though the solo piano shows are fun, I'd rather see him with the orchestra. I've never seen with Ben Folds 5 or really had an opportunity to do that, but I would enjoy that as well.
Dan, do you have any Ben Folds live experience?
Zero live. I can tell a story in terms of Ben Folds non-live, which is that my clearest memory of his songs was me finishing up the comic book series Y: The Last Man. The entire like last graphic novel collection I had nothing but landed on repeat because I was like listening to especially the conclusion to Y: The Last Man, which is I think an incredible comic.
Interesting. Well, as Dave alluded, Alexis and I have some extensive experience with Ben Folds Live, which I feel like this discussion is kind of the polar opposite to how we started the last episode, where I was like, I knew Brick, that's it. Um, as we mentioned on that episode, Alexis has been a big fan for a while, and for a couple years, we were doing long distance dating. We met at the very beginning of 2016, so we're coming up on 10 years together, which is crazy. Um, but I believe it was 2017 the first time we saw him. I knew Alexis was a big fan, and I was a big fan of Alexis, and so I was trying to impress her. And I saw that Ben Folds was going to be playing in Grand Rapids, where she lived, but I did not yet. Although now that I think about it, that concert was like when I first moved here, ultimately.
Pretty close.
But he has at various times offered different like VIP experiences for his concerts. And that was one of his paper airplane request tours, which I know Dave kind of made a joke about, but he's done a couple tours now where he'll do kind of two sets. The first set is just whatever his set list is, but then for the second half of the show, they give everyone in the audience the chance to write a request on a sheet of paper, fold it into a paper airplane, and then at a certain point in the show, they have you just throw all the paper airplanes at the stage, and he'll just kind of go around and like pick a random one and then play whatever that song is. Huh. And they're usually actually Ben Folds songs, but sometimes they're not. And even if they're not, he will at least occasionally try to give it a shot. But he was doing one of those shows, and he had the VIP thing was if you paid some extra money, you could get a seat within like the first 5 rows and get access to his sound check. So I bought tickets for that. We were like 5th row center. And the sound check was amazing. He played some songs during that I don't think we've heard him play since, including one that I'm going to reference later. And I was like, going into that, I had tried to listen to some of his music because I knew Alexis was a fan, but like it just didn't really stick. Like it was like, okay, this is pretty good, but it didn't have a profound effect on me. So I still mostly just knew him as the Brick guy, but watching that first concert, I was just so blown away by his talent as a musician that I literally walked out just like immediately being kind of obsessed with him. I mean, your mileage may vary with this reference, but I have said before that the only other time I have experienced a feeling like that is when I saw Prince live, who, regardless of your feelings, one of my favorite artists, like a true musical genius, somebody who like you get the feeling that he literally could have played any song at any time, like just like music just flowed out of him. And that's kind of how I felt seeing Ben Folds for the first time. Like I feel like he could sit at a piano and play like any song, like just and like even his own songs, just like the embellishments and solos he played, like he is a musical genius. And so that kind of started our love affair with seeing Ben Folds live, which we have done, I don't even know how many times since, like
7.
Maybe. We've seen 2 paper airplane request tours. We've seen him just Ben Folds in a piano multiple times. We saw him on a co-headlining tour with Violent Femmes, which was an amazing show.
Wow.
Which they're another band who I knew Blister in the Sun, and that was about it, but they were like fantastic live.
Also the loudest concert I've ever seen.
Yeah, so like that was literally maybe the loudest show I've ever been to. But like that was Ben Folds had a full band with him, which I think we've seen him at 2 shows with band. Dave mentioned that he does these shows with orchestras. We most recently, just last month, I believe it was, saw him in Grand Rapids with the Grand Rapids Symphony Orchestra, which was our first time seeing him with an orchestra, and that was amazing. Like completely different vibe, but like totally incredible. Um, he has done a lot for the arts and to try to promote like music education and live music and classical music. Like even at the show we went to, he really went out of his way to try to encourage people to go see their local symphony orchestras, even when he's not around, and to really support, musical artistry and just he's done a lot of work around that. So he's gone from being, someone that I just knew for Brick, like literally up until like 2017, to in the past, 8 or 9 years becoming one of my favorite artists and someone who I will always try to go see live anytime he's within a reasonable distance.
Yes.
Damn.
Ditto
Ditto, says
what Joe
Alexis.
said. Yeah, first time I saw him was with Joe. And because I don't know if you know this, Joe enjoys music. He goes to a lot of concerts and he was like, "Hey, Ben Folds is playing." And I said, "Yes, please." So we did that. The Paper Airplane shows are amazing. Like it's just I can't even fathom somebody he clearly he has a huge library of hits, but also like just any song you can think of. It's any song you can think of that he has ever like written or played. And he has for the most part, when he does those shows, he kind of just plays them, but he does have like a book of like, oh man, I haven't played that song in 15 years. And he'll like, put the music up for that. But like, so good, so like extremely talented, and just, I've never been up until going to see those concerts, like, piano's cool, like it's cool, but like he makes it cool. Like it's fun to see. So, yeah, we've seen a bunch, and like Joe said, anytime he's around, we'll try to see him, or anywhere within 2 or 3 hours, we'll drive. Like it's
Yeah.
it's one of those things that we are in.
We
We
both own like probably at least 4 Ben Folds t-shirts now.
yeah,
There's a
so much
poster
merch.
we have a poster from the first show we went to hanging in our dining area.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
obsessed. Also, pro tip for anyone who might go see Ben Folds live. I forget which is stage left or stage right, but if you are facing the stage from the audience, you want to be like toward the left of center because that will always give you the best view of Ben Folds and his piano playing.
Yeah,
Pro tip.
it's pretty great. It's a
Like
fun time.
he's always positioned that way with his piano.
So this is
Also,
mhm.
speaking of Ben Folds live, he has a history of doing a thing called Rock This Bitch, which Dave
Yes.
is probably familiar with.
Oh yeah.
It's on one of his, it might be on the Ben Folds live album, like his first live album. But it started at one point, someone at one of his shows just yelled out, "Rock this bitch." And he took that as a command and just like made up a song on the spot called "Rock This Bitch." And that has become kind of a staple of his live shows where more often than not, if someone in the audience yells out "Rock this bitch," he'll just improvise a song, like often having to do with the location he's at. We saw him in Kalamazoo once, and he came up with a pretty awesome one about rocking this bitch in Kalamazoo. Um, at least one song that ended up on a studio album started out as a "Rock This Bitch," which again we'll talk about in a little
I'm
bit.
sure more than that. Yeah.
Especially
I'm
fun when the orchestra has to rock this bitch with him.
so
And
I'm kind of mad because last time we saw him with an orchestra, so I have 2 experiences. Well, one real one. It was a year or two ago. The last time we saw him, I think before we saw the orchestral show, we saw him in Detroit, and he had a full band. It was on the What Matters Most tour. And for years, I've wanted to build up the confidence to be the guy who yells out, "Rock this bitch." And during that show, there was a pause between songs. And I was like, all right, this is my chance. And I did it. And I yelled out, rock this bitch. And he acknowledged me. But then he said, no, I will not be rocking this bitch tonight.
I think he had
Oh,
COVID. He was sick.
It turns out he had COVID. So like
yeah,
he
it
was
not
like
great.
sticking to the script for that show. Like he didn't even really play any like extended piano solos or anything. So I mean, I can't really fault him for that. I was still excited that he even acknowledged that I yelled it out, but it was kind of a
Yeah.
bummer. And then
But
we
you,
saw him
but
this
you gotta
last
rock
time.
this sick.
That's true. That is true. I really wanted to yell it out for the orchestral show, but Alexis said that she would divorce me if I did it in
Yeah.
that setting. So I did not do it.
Yeah, we were also with people, and it was
We were
a
with
whole
some of her.
thing.
We were with one of her like coworkers, like work friends, and she didn't want me to embarrass
Yeah.
her. So
Yeah.
anyway, Ben
In case
Folds
he
Live
was
is
like,
great.
no, we're not doing that because we're fancy. Yeah. Anyway, so anyway, go see Ben Folds. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, making
Wow.
me jealous. Damn.
I've never seen him. I'll just share a 2-second thing for me. My oddly most watched video of Ben Folds, though, is him when he, as you just said, does the improv song with the National Symphony Orchestra. I've seen that video like 10 times. I don't know why. I just get a kick out of him taking a
That's great.
suggestion and going through and doing the thing. And especially the parts, because I mean, he's playing with professional musicians. So I like the parts where he's just like, you guys, you know what you're going to do, and then they get a song put together, but it's kind of
Yeah.
fun.
It's amazing how I wish my brain worked that way, that I could do those things.
Yes.
It's
I mean,
amazing.
again, I feel like he is actually a musical genius.
Maybe. Speaking of, let's get into our first album here.
Speaking of rocking things,
2001's Rocking the Suburbs. Oh my goodness. Put on your boxing gloves again, Joe.
it's going to be
Here
a
we
slobber
go.
knocker.
What's going to be the song that comes off this album? I'm super intrigued to see what our ultimate pick is with this. But we got our round robin order here again for this podcast, and Alexis draws the honor or short stick, depends how you look at it, I guess, of being
Yeah.
first to go on this one. So
I'm going to interrupt one last quick time for
Of
now.
course.
I think you've used up your word allotment.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, this is interesting for me because Alexis and I purposely did not share with each other what our picks are. So, like, this is one of the albums that I'm very curious to see what her picks are. So, let's get into it.
Yeah. So this album has
Wrong. Just kidding.
everything. Yes, wrong. Incorrect. This album has, it's just like jam-packed full of stuff, right? Honorable mentions big time for half the album. And yeah, so I'm gonna say let's go with honorable mentions first. Okay, so Not the Same is one of my favorite songs ever. It's my favorite song to see live because Ben Folds always does a lot of crowd work with that. And he has us sing with him, and he does a lot, and he just looks like
Yeah.
absolutely engaged and like delighted when you do it
He
too.
he will assign vocal parts to like different groups in the audience and like literally like conduct the audience. It's
And
pretty
it just
amazing.
gives you chills to hear like everybody come together and sing together and be in this like, like you're all doing something that you enjoy, and it's really pretty magical. But so that's kind of my number two. But like honestly, it was so hard. Annie Waits is a great song. Gone is a great song. Fred Jones Part 2, The Ascent to Stan. Are you kidding? These are all great. These are all amazing. The Luckiest, Joe and I, that's like our song. It's the song that we
Sounds like it's
danced
not going to
to
be
at our
your
wedding.
song.
It's not going to be our song. But it's a good one. It's really good. I'm going to go with, for my number one, Zach and Sarah. Because it is a bop, as the kids may have said 20 years ago. It's so much fun, and it's kind of like it's serious, but he makes it feel kind of goofy, and there's so much going on with it, and like the piano is amazing in it, and it's just a great song, and also he spells Zach and Sarah weird, which I appreciate. Um, so yeah, that's what I would say. Probably my favorite album. And yeah, in closing, Zach and Sarah. That's
So
it.
just to clarify,
Uh-huh.
Alexis, not the same as your honorable mention. Are those other five also honorable mentions, or they're just songs you enjoy?
They're just songs I enjoy. I'm going to say honorable mention is not the same.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow, our song doesn't even get an honorable mention.
Nope.
I'm sorry.
I just wanted that
Damn.
clarified on air. So
All
Yeah.
right. You know
Yeah.
what?
Sorry.
I'm hurt, but I guess we'll carry
on
on.
record.
It's a great song. Oh, man. Okay. Yep. I won't. Yep. Go ahead.
Well, I guess I'm next. I'm gonna have to change my order now. My honorable mention is my wife is a heartless bitch. I mean, what?
Oof, this is the real Rockin' of the
I
No.
Suburbs.
mean,
The
you knew
suburbs
that
are being
marrying
rocked.
me. So
Oh,
it's all
baby,
right.
I love you so much.
Okay.
I'm gonna agree with a lot of what Alexis said. I actually listening to you talk about this album, I think I am going to say definitively this is also my favorite Ben Folds album, like narrowly edging out whatever it ever amen. Like this is just a fantastic album. I agree with all the songs you named are bangers. They're all great. I am also going to mention the title track, "Rocking the Suburbs." I think is a lot of fun. It is one of a handful of songs that I reference all the time that nobody except Alexis gets. Especially, I love "You Better Watch Out" because I'm going to say fuck. Um, However, my honorable mention is going to be "The Luckiest," Alexis. This was our song. This was our first dance
Sorry.
song at our wedding. I think it is a very beautiful song. I think I am a sap. I am a sucker for a good love song. I am also a huge
Why is it
fan.
your honorable mention, Joe? Why is it
Well, we'll
your
get to
number
that in a
one?
minute. Listen, you're my number one. My heart will go on.
All
Anyway,
right.
um, but I love a love song that is a little bit unconventional. And while this song is beautiful, I like that some of the lyrics are a little bit off the beaten path. There's a whole verse that, includes the line, "I'm sorry, I know that's a strange way to tell you that I know we belong." Where, he's talking about like being old and someone dying, and it's like a whole thing. I feel like in its own weird way, it feels very true and very relatable, even though there's a lot of specific kind of odd imagery in this song. But that is only my honorable mention. Dave, why are you making that
Joe
face?
cry. Made Joe cry.
My top pick on this album. Listen, you guys, I don't have any children, let alone a human son, but the song "Still Fighting It" fucking destroys me every time I hear it. Like, it is just so like this is a song that Ben Folds wrote like after his son was born, and it clearly is about, "Good morning, son." It's about a father talking to his son, but it's also just kind of an exploration of, the struggles that we all go through in life. It does suck to get old, Ben Folds. Thanks for pointing that out. But there is a specific lyric in this song where he says, "You're so much like me. I'm sorry." And like Jesus Christ, like it hits me. That might be one of my single favorite lines in any song ever. Like acknowledging kind of like generational trauma and like the way that parents take after children in positive and negative ways. Like this might be my single favorite Ben Folds song. It just like hits me in a way that few other songs do. It's incredible. So that is my number one with a bullet.
could you be more wrong? All right, Dave.
Fuck you. Also, I came close to crying just now, but I didn't. God damn it!
Oh.
I came close earlier when I was talking about I'm Not the Man. Anyway, yes, I love this album. There is I love every song on this album. Um if I have to choose, which I do, I have three honorable mentions and then my winner. So starting from the bottom, my lowest honorable mention is The Luckiest. There's a reason that it's looking at Spotify, it seems to be his most popular song, his most popular solo song. And for a good reason. It's a beautiful love song. It's very nice. I like that song a lot. Next on the list, moving up, is Still Fighting It. I agree with a lot of what Joe said. I think that's a fantastic song for all the reasons that he said. Number two for me is Not the Same. I love that song, and it's not even really about the lyrics or the themes. It's just musically, it just matches the frequency of my brain somehow. Um, if I was making like a list of like top 10 Ben Folds songs for me, three of the top 10 would be not the same studio version, not the same live version, and not the same a cappella version. Like, I love every version of that song.
Yeah, they're all different. They're all not the same.
Wow.
You.
That was good. That was good. It kills me to not have this be my pick from this album because this is, I think, my second favorite Ben Folds song out of
Wow.
all of them. But my first favorite Ben Folds song out of all of them, and song number two of my three songs that make Dave cry, is Fred Jones Part Two. This song is so incredibly fucking sad and at parts angry and just beautiful. I know I keep saying that to describe like all of his songs, but that one gets me every single time I've listened to it, and I've been listening to it for like 25 years now.
It's so good.
I really, really love it.
It is very good.
That's it.
Oh, that's me. Okay, well, first of all, I want to just say up front to agree with a lot of people here. This is probably my favorite album on either of the podcasts we're doing. Just start to finish is fantastic. I think at the time before we started doing prep for this podcast, I think I had 6 Ben Folds songs favorited in my Spotify list. 5 of them were off of this album, so that already shows, what it shows. But it's just great. This has got to be like his magnum opus. Gotta be. Okay, on my end, I decided to fit. Well, I'll say first of all, 3 songs I really, really, really liked, but I cut out of my official designation here. Rocking the Suburbs, Not the Same, and Zach and Sarah were all close, but didn't quite get the official designation here from me. My barely getting honorable mention label was The Luckiest, only because I appreciate Alexis maybe more than Joe or vice versa, but there's that. And it's a great song. And then my second song, also honorable mention, barely. This was my winner, actually, and then I flipped it at the end, is Still Fighting It, which I thought would win off this album, to be quite frank. It's a weird one. I agree with you all. I'm just being an asshole, but it's it is weird. I mean, it's weird to be a parent and to know kind of what kids are going through and all of these stages and milestones and other things. The only thing I don't know that I necessarily, it's interesting that somebody mentioned this because the only line in the song I don't know that I like is when he apologizes for the kid being like him. I'm like, I want my kid to be like me and to go through stuff that I went through. So to me, that's not an apology. To me, that's I'm glad somebody else gets to do all those things that I did. So I'm kind of opposite of Ben on that one line, but it's a great song. Almost makes me cry, like some people mentioned here as well. And pulling out my top spot on this album at the end, which I didn't think would happen, but I just put it here. What I find interesting is this album being of the age it is, and probably Ben Folds being of the age he is, and the ages that we are as listeners. This really hits like a relationship song, a parenting song, and then my top song here is also Fred Jones Part Two. which is kind of the getting old song, right? It's the kind of like your life is kind of moving on and there's a new generation behind you that's hungrier and taking over from you. And the song is another one of those songs that's kind of a story song, which is always a bonus, I think, if you're telling a good story with a song. We do get a little bit of variety of voices of singing in this one. Somebody mentioned already. There's a little bit of anger in here, a little bit of sadness at times. It's all of those. Also, this song has actually some harmonies in it as well, which I wanted to actually ask those that have seen him perform or also know more about him. If it's a solo album he's doing, who's doing these harmonies with him, or is he just not doing those harmonies?
I know on the live album, it's some guy from Cake who sings it with him and on that, but I don't know who it is in the studio version.
It could just be Ben Folds. I mean, it's not uncommon for musicians to just do multiple vocal tracks and kind
Just
of harmonize
layering
with themselves.
Okay. Yeah, but that's what I picked today. Tomorrow you ask me, you might be still fighting it, but today it's Fred Jones Part 2.
There are 2 people credited as backing vocals. Hold on. Track 5. So that is John McCrae doing. Oh, it's the guy from Cake.
That's the guy
He's
from
on the
Cake.
album.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I thought I heard
Okay.
a long
And maybe they
jacket
throw
with
three
a short skirt on there.
Maybe they throw 3 Bens in there and finally get to 5, Ben 5 with the Cake guy.
Wasn't there was a brief super group that was 3 Bens. It was Ben Folds, Ben
Oh.
Harper, and
No,
Ben
Lee, Ben Queller,
Ben
and
Lee.
Ben Folds. I'm going to
there
talk
you
about
go.
them very soon.
All right,
Ooh.
boy.
Preview.
I'm going to talk about harmony soon.
Okay.
All right. Dan, what do you got?
Man, well, what the hell do I say that hasn't already been said? I think echoing so much of this in terms of this being just a fantastic album and like how do you choose? And what I'm going to say is my choices are so different than they would have been 20 years ago when listening to this. Because as I mentioned earlier, like Brick, I can remember exactly where I was in my life when I heard that song and hearing that returns it. This song, this album, a lot of these songs have the opposite thing, where like they mean a lot more to me now. They're a lot more layered 20 years on, like re-listening to this. So the honorable mentions, I'm going to go like Rocking the Suburbs is probably my favorite when I first heard this because it was fun and a lot of enjoyment. The Luckiest I know has a lot of plays. That makes a lot of sense. I think if I could rank honorable mentions, the next honorable mention for me, not the same. Because I know Alexis, you were talking earlier about like the live versions of it, and Dave, you were too, and like that's one that stands out. So both this album version and the live version of that song is just it sounds so great. I think in terms of songs that mean a lot more now, yeah, Fred Jones Part 2, man, that one I have a feeling is going to hit even harder in like another 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
But for me, the number one highlight from this is Still Fighting It. I think that one's hitting especially right now, where I am age and like life journey wise.
Cool.
Yep.
I just want to, before we move on from this album, tell a quick story about The Luckiest. So that was our first dance song at our wedding, and we had a DJ, and our first song is Ben Folds' The Luckiest. Like, awesome. We did not realize until after our wedding that there is a alternate version of that song that was in the soundtrack for the movie About Time.
Yeah.
Which is a good movie. Richard Curtis, who did like Love Actually and a few other movies that were like great British rom-com kind of movies. But the version in that movie adds like some jazzy drums to the
Super
proceedings.
jazzy.
And fortunately, she played the album version at our wedding, but we realized after the fact that by not being more specific, like if she had played the About Time version, we would have been
It would have
very
like
angry.
ruined. I
Like,
would
we're
have
trying to
been
have our
bridezilla.
romantic first dance, and all of a sudden there's just like jazzy drums kicking in.
Like I would have lost
it
my
is-
fucking mind.
It is not a great version of the song, but hey, good for Ben Folds for getting some
Yeah.
movie money.
Another short story about the song The Luckiest. One time, Ben Folds took a photo of the sheet music of The Luckiest, and then he's been selling it ever since.
What?
Sure
You mean
has.
like the version that we have in our house somewhere? that I bought Alexis for Christmas one year, I think.
I don't know where it is.
Or maybe it was
keep
our
waiting for
anniversary,
him
but
to
either
take-
way.
I keep waiting for him to take like a second photo.
It's
Yeah.
not even a really good photo, if we're being honest.
It's kind
of a shitty photo.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, somewhere in our house, we have a framed version of that.
hmm
Interesting. Like
Paying for that Honda CRV.
It's just
Yeah,
a
the
photo
2016
of
Honda
the sheet
CR-V.
music.
It's a photo of the sheet music.
Yep.
It's a not particularly great photo of the sheet music. And
But
that's
it has an actual Ben Folds autograph on it.
When you first said that, I assumed you meant like he took the original thing he wrote it on and like chopped it in
No.
1,000 pieces and
No,
sold
it's
them
just
or
a
something.
print. It
Oh,
is a
okay.
print of a photo that he's selling for, I think, like $100 a pop.
Hey, you know what? People
And
buy
suckers like
photos
me
of the
buy-
Mona Lisa, so there you go. I didn't realize that part one of this song is on Whatever Never Amen, hey?
Cigarette.
Fred
Yeah,
Jones
so-
part two. I didn't
Yeah,
read
yeah.
that.
Cigarette
check
on
that
Whatever
out.
and Ever Amen is Fred Jones part 1 theoretically.
Yep.
All right. Well, by a close victory, Still Fighting It wins off this album, just edging out Fred Jones Part 2. So there we go. We're moving on, peeps. It's all downhill from here. We're at the top of the mountain and we're headed down. But how fast we'll go depends on your opinions on some of these albums. Let's go down to 2005. We're jumping ahead 4 years to Songs for Silverman. I can only assume this is the soundtrack to the movie Saving Silverman, but I'm not positive on that. Joe, you're up first.
So it's hilarious that you say that because I definitely referred to this album as Saving Silverman earlier when Alexis and I were talking. Because that's just where my mind goes every time I hear the name Silverman. Overall, I really like this album. It's probably more like mid-tier Ben Folds as far as the overall album for me, but there are definitely a few tracks on it that I think are all-time bangers. This is one where my honorable mention on this actually kind of surprised me. And that is the song Late, which is a tribute to the late Elliott Smith, who was a musician that Ben Folds toured with apparently briefly. I honestly, he's one of those musicians. I don't know if you guys have any of these where I feel like I should listen to him. Like from what I have gathered, it seems like he would be in my wheelhouse, but I have like never actually really listened to him. But I just think that this is a beautiful, touching song about like losing someone that had an impact on your life. And I like the specificity here. Like it is obviously about a specific person, like the loss of Elliott Smith, but in its specificity, I feel like it also feels universal as a song about loss. I really like the line, Elliot, man, you played a fine guitar and some dirty basketball. Like it's kind of a fun, a kind of a fun line that also actually tells you something about the person. But yeah, for some reason, like revisiting this album for this podcast, that song just kind of hit me a little harder than it had in the past. But then my top pick for this album, which I feel like is kind of the basic bitch choice, is Landed. I think Ben Folds himself has said that this is a song that he just kind of cranked out. If I recall, the record company that he was working with at the time wanted him to do like his version of Tiny Dancer, and that ended up being Landed. So I think it's a song that he has said he didn't necessarily even have like a strong like personal connection with, like from an artistic standpoint, but it's still a really good song. Piano wise, I love it, and lyrically, I like it as well. I like that it's a breakup song that is kind of a more kind of bitter but also positive take on like feeling free after getting out of a relationship where like you don't really realize how bad it was or how trapped you were until it's over, and then it's like, oh my God, like I can be myself again. Not that I've ever experienced that, but I feel like I had at least one relationship in the past that when it ended, all of my friends were like, oh, I never thought you guys were great together. I specifically have always liked the line, "Down comes the rain of the telephone czar. It's okay to call, and I will answer for myself." Just the telephone czar thing I thought was kind of funny, but feeling like you can't really have any friendships or anything outside of a relationship. I've definitely been there, and it sucks. So I think this is one of those all-time Ben Folds classics.
All-time Ben Folds classics. Dave.
All right, I'm up next. This album is kind of middle of the road for me. There's some songs that I like on here, and there's some songs that don't really do it for me. It suffers a little bit because both Late, which I do like, and Give Judy My Notice had previous versions that I listened to a lot before this album came out, and then I liked these versions less, somewhat significantly less, actually. But for me, so I actually agree with Joe. Landed is my number one pick for, I mean, I could just repeat everything you just said. How it's just an anthem for freedom, and it has a lot of catharsis to it, and it's just really musically a fun song. And then my honorable mentions are Gracie, which is basically the song for his daughter, the way Still Fighting is for his son, and I think is a beautiful song. And my other honorable mention is Trusted. I really like I like that song a lot. I don't really have details why, but that's my list.
That's how I feel about Jesus Land. I like that song, but I didn't really have much to say about it.
Jesus Land. All
I think
right.
Land is a fun song live, but the album version, I don't know.
Mhm.
Anyway, go ahead, Cody.
You guys, this album is not that great. Yeah, this one has the designation tonight of being the only album that I picked a winner on to pick a winner on, but there's no honorable mentions because there was not much else I really cared for on this one, which was kind of surprising because my winner, much like all of you, was Landed. And this is weird to me, A, because it was a song I had favorited on Spotify, and B, this is oddly the Ben Folds song I find myself singing to myself the most around the house. I don't know why, but it is. And so when,
Blink twice if you need help.
Yes.
well, so here's the weird thing. A, when we started this, I just assumed this must be on maybe Rocking the Suburbs, like on like track 8 or 9 or something, or someplace else. And then when I saw it was on this album, I was like, oh, well, I must like this album then. And then I listened to it and was like, nope, it's really just the song Landed. So there's that. I don't have anything else on that one. Dan, tell us why you like Jesus Land.
All right. Well, because it's poppy, it's fun, it gets you going. No, because it seems almost like comical too. I'm sure the environment he grew up in South Carolina is kind of like I just whenever I hear it, I imagine like a theme park, right?
Yeah.
Going like,
Love that.
uh, but that actually is one of the. So I really want to call it three songs. And one of them was Jesus Land. It's fun. It's poppy. It's a lot
I
of
love
joy.
that song.
So that's honorable mention. Honorable mention to Time. I think Time has some really interesting like the lyrics. I especially want to call the lyric "I can be the problem if that's easier." I think that is a fantastic way to like say goodbye to someone. Say like I'm moving on. I'll be the asshole. I'll be your Huckleberry in a weird way. So I really like the song Time. But then I guess I am a Ben Folds basic bitch because Landed is my number one song in there.
Oh, wow.
Because like that's the song as I was mentioned earlier with the Why the Last Man finishing up that comic, like listening to, and in this case it was the acapella version specifically, but that was the main song on repeat in like the last issue of that when I was reading it.
How'd you basic? Okay.
All right, Alexis, are we going 5 for 5 on this?
No.
Oh,
I
shit.
honestly, that song is like a good song, but it's not for me. I mean, it's good.
Love
I
it.
really enjoy. It's funny to me actually to hear
Jesus
to
Land
hear
number one. Let's
everybody's no,
go.
also no. Um to hear everybody's, picks and everything because I feel like we're all roughly the same age. I am the only lady person here. For the most part, right?
That you know of.
That I know of.
Fact.
And I don't know, does that have anything to do with it? I don't know. But I have very different picks for some of these, and it's just very interesting. So for this album, I like it a lot and have a lot of honorable mentions. I think Trusted is a great song. And maybe it's also just because I have had like really terrible relationships before I met my husband.
You're welcome.
Um, yeah, Trusted. Sentimental Guy is a really good one I like. I like that one a lot. And then my actual pick for like number two honorable mention is Bastard. Um, I always I don't know, it's just something there's something kind of dark about it and kind of I love the line, the whiz man will never fit you like the whiz kid did. Like the idea of like you were the whiz kid, but now you're just a fucking old dude. Like I just like that a lot.
Why are you attacking me like this?
Yeah. Um, so I really like that. And then the actual my number one pick is gonna be You to Thank. And I don't know why, because it's not something it's not something I super relate to, but I think it's an interesting concept of like two people getting together and they're a couple and everybody thinks they're just like a lovely couple and they, maybe get married and they make all these commitments and there's, they talk about their rings being tattooed, maybe going to Vegas and pretty soon things start to fall apart and you just realize like oops. The whole kind of story behind that is kind of interesting to me and I just also like the melody of it is just kind of lovely and weirdly doesn't it kind of clashes with the words, so I that's my favorite. I like it. That's mine.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate that it wasn't a clean sweep. We had some more thoughts on that.
Agreed.
Appreciate that. Okay, then we're gonna head to another what? Well, only 1 year ahead here. And this, as we mentioned in the last podcast, some of the Ben Folds discography is a little messy here. So technically labeled as an LP, but I felt like we needed to include this one. So Supersunnyspeedgraphic, all is one word. The LP from 2006 is our next one up here. And I'm just going to pre-say before we talk about this, just take all the comments Dave says to start, and those are my comments also. So go ahead, Dave.
Really? I
Yep,
don't think that's going to be the case.
give it a shot.
Okay, so this, like you said, is an LP that's actually kind of a best of or like a mixtape of a bunch of EPs that he had in 2003 and 2004. Sunny 16, Speed Graphic, Super D, and the Bends, which was the kind of Ben group that he did. They just have 4 songs on that one. Um, all of those albums, or I guess timing wise, 3 of those 4, I was in Japan studying abroad when those came out, and I had all of them imported to me. And I love those EPs. I really, I think that's some of his best stuff. And this LP does, with a couple of exceptions, a great job of being like pulling all my favorites onto one album. This is like a top 5 album to me. Um, I love, I'm just working up my list here. I love Bruised. That's the one that's with the Bends, and it's the best one that they did of those. There's Always Someone Cooler Than You is fantastic. And then these next 3 is so hard to choose between because I truly, truly love all of them. The first one is Rent a Cop, which is I will just jam to at any time. It's got such a fun story, such a fun perspective. And I whisper through my donut all the time as I'm just driving along. I just fucking love that song. Um, the next one is Adelaide, which is such a fun song. We, meaning Emily and I, almost named our kid Adelaide because we liked the song and then we went to Adelaide, Australia, and it was fun to see like the lyrics suddenly make sense. Like watching as the locals pass silver balls. I didn't know what that meant. I thought they were like passing balls to each other. And then we're walking through this like main market, and there are these giant silver ball sculptures. And I was like, oh, that's what it means watching as locals pass silver balls. Um, I like that song a lot and had some extra additional context for that. One honorable mention before I get to my top pick is Wandering, which was on Speedgraphic but didn't make it to this compilation. But I think that's a really, really beautiful song. Okay, and then my number one is the third of three songs that make me cry pretty much every time I listen to it, and that is Still. I think he's got a few versions of it. I think the one that's on this LP is my favorite of them. It's the longest of them. It's beautifully orchestrated. Um, just got really nice themes to it, and like I said, I cry every time I listen to that song. So sorry, once again, I've started off and taken up half the time probably talking about this album because I love
You're
it.
fine. So is that 4 honorables and 1 victory? Is that what you got there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. Great. Just make sure. I'd like to retract my statement that I said about Dave speaking for me on this album, just
I
for the
told
record.
you. I fucking told you.
I thought you were going a different way with that. So, you know, what's interesting to me when I got to this, and I listened to these out of order, I should point out as well. I usually do chronological. That's not true. I usually don't do chronological for our podcast. I probably should just to see the change. But this particular album, what really amazed me about all of the songs Ben Folds does is how how similar a good Ben Folds song sounds compared to a quote unquote bad Ben Folds song. They're very, very similar. Some of them just have like some element that makes it a particularly good song versus ones that sound 90% the same as them, but just are not a good song. So that's kind of interesting. I don't feel like the range is particularly wide on these, but some of them just have that certain thing that does it. So rare for me here. I'm doing 2 honorable mentions tonight. I have Learned to Live with What You Are as one honorable mention. That is a song that takes all of 4 notes to get into to let you know that it's going to be an epic song. Listening to it, I think it has a good message behind it, just kind of letting the judgment around you fade and just be happy with what you are. And also, again, has really one of those fun breakdowns for the last 30 seconds of the song where they just kind of play, which I seem to like a lot on these songs by Ben Folds. My second honorable mention here is, of course, the seminal classic from the Roadhouse remake on Amazon Prime, Get Your Hands Off of My Woman, which may not actually be in that film, but it's a bluesy, rockin' fun time. Exactly what it sounds like. Very fun, very thunderous. It is very repetitive, I will say, lyrically, though, but it's kind of fun, especially because it juxtaposes so well going from this song to the song after this, which is my actual favorite pick off the album, which is Bruised. So it goes like quite a juxtapose, but I love it. Bruised was fun. That's a song I didn't know at all prior to this podcast. So I like the Love Just Leaves You Bruised line. That's fun. I also really just like that really simple ba 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 that they repeat through the whole song as well, and really fun melodies on this one as well. So Bruised is my topic.
Right. Well,
Ben-san!
I'm glad Dave and Cody had a lot to say because I have to admit, before prepping for this, I don't think I've ever heard this album. In fact, the only song that was Ben Folds' Basic Bitch here again. The only song I'd heard of was Adelaide. So I'm gonna say like that's gonna be my pick on there. But I don't know. I'm sorry. Like Cody was saying, re-listening to this though, like a lot of this felt very similar for this one. I think that because I hadn't heard it previously, like it didn't have any big resonance with me. So it's just kind of listening through. Okay, none of them really stood out.
So are you picking Italy then?
I am.
Not even Learn to Live with What You Are? You haven't heard that one? No? Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Right
Isn't
on.
friends
I'm not judging
occasionally
you, bro.
agreeing?
I'm not
That's
judging
right.
you.
That's right.
Fuck you, Dan. This is the best Ben
Yeah, fuck
Folds
you.
album ever recorded, which I also had never really listened to before this podcast. What?
This is one of those albums that or LPs that like I have heard all the songs from, but haven't really listened to collectively. Um, and it's perhaps not my favorite, honestly. I really don't have any honorable mentions. I'll just say my number one is There's Always Someone Cooler Than You. Um, because again, I can relate to it. There's always someone cooler than you, and you're gonna have to fucking deal with it. Like you're gonna have to just, like it's fine, whatever. Um, and the rest of them, there's a couple of pretty good ones on here. I just am not like enthralled with them. Um, All You Can Eat was a good one, or it's kind of a fun one. It's kind of fun to listen to, but none of the other ones are really big for me, I guess. Even Adelaide, I just kind of they're lower tier for me. So that would be what I have to say.
All right. Well, I mean, I've already referenced a few of my favorite Ben Folds lyrics over the course of these podcasts, so allow me to do the same with this album. Bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Lick on the nuts and suck the dick.
It's so Joe to pick the one song that is
Joe.
not cool anymore.
That's not my
Like,
pick, Dave. It
yeah,
was a
that's
joke.
me.
Dave, it was a joke. It was a joke.
I know.
No, I appreciate the fact that Ben Folds has retracted that song.
Yeah, me too.
Like it's not I don't even think it's available anymore on like digital platforms. He has recognized how problematic it was, and I I appreciate that he's kind of taking it back.
I mean, it was kind of fun to
Um,
listen
It
to him
was
play
fun
it,
while
though.
it
It was
lasted,
fun.
and
yes,
It
it's
was
good
fun.
that it's gone.
but yes, exactly. Well put, Dave.
Look, we've all done things we've regretted after
Yeah.
a track meet, okay?
Um, I'm going to kind of echo what Dan said, though. I honestly had never really listened to this album before. There are a couple songs on it that I really enjoy. Kind of as Alexis said, I feel like I have heard most of the songs just on their own here and there, but had never really sat down and listened to the album. Um, and I think it's hard, like, because I feel like we all tend to form connections with albums kind of based on where and when we were in our lives when we hear them. And when you're trying to do a pod like something like this podcast where you just don't really have a relationship with a specific album, it's kind of hard to go and try to listen to it. And I feel like you almost inherently are not going to give it a fair shake because you're just kind of trying to get through it for the podcast versus, material that you may be more familiar with. So I just want to kind of acknowledge that. That being said, there are some good songs on here. I actually picked as an honorable mention Learn to Live with What You Are, which is kind of a weird song. But I like the orchestration on it, like the just overall composition of the song, I think is cool. And while the lyrics may not be the like most nuanced that Ben Folds has ever written, I do like the overall idea behind it. You're not going to ever magically get everything that you want out of life, and maybe sometimes you need to face that fact and accept that maybe your life is still pretty okay anyway. But for my top pick on this album, I'm going to have to go with one that has been mentioned a few times already, and that is There's Always Someone Cooler Than You. I just think it's a fun song, and I think it is maybe the one song off this album that feels like it is a stone cold Ben Folds classic that still gets played in concert a lot and is still kind of go-to from his oeuvre.
Okay, well, that's our winner. There's always someone cooler than you, and apparently not the really great song Bruised. So forget all of you guys. There's that.
I
Get your
said,
hands off of my woman!
I didn't know Axl Rose was on this album.
Oh, yes, he is. He plays the piano and does the singing. All right. We're jumping ahead here again. We're going from 2006 to 2008 to the grammatically lovely Way Too Normal. Oh, and I'm up first on
Actually,
this
way
one.
too normal instead of
Yes.
way too normal.
I guess it could be. I guess
Like
it's play on
you're
words,
on your
maybe.
way to a place called
I guess
Normal.
I could see that also. Has that been?
It is based on an actual town called Normal, Illinois,
That's
which
not
you
a
should
real
know
place.
because you live in Illinois, Cody.
That's not a real place. They have a Chick-fil-A. Let's move on.
If you had listened to the quote unquote fake version of this album and the title track Way to Normal that is not on the final album,
Oh,
you would know that it says show me the way to normal. Is this the way to normal?
well, that would have helped then,
So
yes.
looking for directions to a place called Normal. Jesus Christ, Cody, get your head out of your ass.
Jesus land. All right, let's see. I don't have a ton of notes on this one, but I did say that listening to it, I thought maybe of the solo albums, this one has the best shot at trying to capture the magic that was Rocking the Suburbs the best. Ooh, I don't know, but I'm going to make that statement. My honorable mention here is You Don't Know Me. Just a fun
What?
one. What? What's up?
Joe has to say what every time
that was
anybody
a
talks
reference
about
to the
that
song.
song.
You Don't Know Me.
I gotcha. I got
It's
too quiet
funny.
afterwards. I was very confused. But anyway, fun one. Actually, one I have seen the video on for some reason as well, which doesn't happen these days. But for some reason, I saw that one. And winner for this one is going to be the same one you're all picking, right? Which is Hiroshima. That's my top one. Not divulging any deep message here as far as why I chose that one. I know there's a story behind it, but really I just like the and also the fact that he's like basically just talking through half of the song, not even singing. He's just talking. So that's my pick.
All right. Well, I'll go and start. I've got to ask everyone, Free Coffee, does it sound really like I found it difficult to listen to Free Coffee?
I actively dislike that song.
Like what the hell is that electronic noise? I don't know. So like that's whatever the opposite of a pick is, that's Free Coffee for me. Honorable mention, we definitely have You Don't Know Me. I really like Regina Spektor like on her own too, so it was fantastic to hear this collaboration. I think they did really well together. But my choice for this album is Effington. I think who's the young voice? Is that his kid? There's like his little kid. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I enjoyed that song. I enjoyed hearing that like kid's voice on there too. And it's that was a great song.
Right on. This was a tough one for me. Because I like most of it. And I would have to say I have some honorable mentions with Bitch Went Nuts. Because it's silly. And Effington. I like Effington. I also like You Don't Know Me. That's a really fun one to see live because everybody sings along, which is cool. Everybody sings Regina Spektor's part, and he like encourages that, and it's kind of fun.
What?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Joe.
God damn it, Joe.
Because he's too cheap to get her there, and I'm joking. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. And I actually, so my actual number 2 though is Cologne, because it's a fun story. Like the story behind the song is fun.
So your
or
number one
maybe
is
not fun.
Before Cologne.
Nope. No, it's not. Thank you for interjecting though. I appreciate that.
Come
That's
on,
what I
Joe.
do.
Yeah, so Cologne is number 2. And yeah, Hiroshima is my number 1, or Benny hits his head.
There we go.
Yep.
It's a good song. So for folks who don't know, I have alluded to the fake version of this album. Before this album was actually released in 2008, a supposed anonymous internet leaker released what they claimed was a leaked version of the forthcoming Ben Folds album.
Was it Ryan Reynolds again? God damn it.
It was. But it turned out Ben Folds actually recorded like an entire album's worth of fake songs that had mostly track names similar to those that ended up on the final album and released those as a supposed leak before the actual album was released. I have to say, I think on at least a couple of these instances, the quote unquote fake tracks are actually better than the final versions that made the album, including instead of Free Coffee, the fake version is Free Coffee Town. I actually like that better than Free Coffee. The song I mentioned, Way to Normal, I think is a banger. My dog hates it, but I think it's a lot of fun.
He
And
hates it when Joe sings it. He hates it.
I think the leaked version of Bitch Went Nuts, which is spelled with a Z instead of an S on the end, might actually be better than the Bitch Went Nuts that ended up on the final album. It is a completely different song. The quote unquote fake version is from the point of view of like a business bro who takes his liberal girlfriend to the office Christmas party, or as actually as Ben Folds says, the Christmas office party, which I always thought his order of those words was interesting. And gets embarrassed because she does cocaine and starts spouting a bunch of liberal nonsense to his coworkers
And eats vegetables or something.
and eats and talks about vegetables. There's a line. She thinks because she reads, she must be smarter, but now when I close my eyes, I'll be fucking Jimmy Carter. So if you haven't heard, he actually subsequently released those songs officially. He did what he called a stems and seeds version of this album. Part of the thing with Way Too Normal is that the production and the original release was notoriously not great, so a lot of the songs sounded kind of muddy. So he did this extended version that included the fake version of the album, but also kind of remastered versions of the songs that were on the final album that sounded a little bit better. Anyway, so my honorable mention is the Bitch Went Nuts with a Z, which was the supposed fake version of the song. And my top pick for the album, I am squishing two together, and that is Before Cologne and Cologne. I feel like they are actually one song. Before Cologne is kind of a little, instrumental interlude that leads directly into Cologne. When he does it live, he frequently will play them together, including when we saw him most recently with the orchestra, which was amazing. And I think Cologne is another example of what I love about Ben Folds songwriting, in that it is kind of a beautiful song about, a relationship, like two people kind of going separate ways, but it also has some pretty weird lyrics that are like oddly specific and kind of comedic, but also feel real. Specifically, the line about says here an astronaut put on a pair of diapers and drove 18 hours to kill her boyfriend, which was like an actual headline in the news at the time that inspired that song. Um, but then it goes on to say like basically he's sitting in a hotel room reading that headline, wondering if this person who he separated from is like also seeing that news. This actually is the song I alluded to earlier that started as a Rock This Bitch song. You can actually on YouTube find that original version, and it is almost this like finished song. He was actually playing in Köln, I believe is how you actually pronounce it, the city in Germany, which I always appreciated he alludes to in this song, here in Cologne. I know I said it wrong. But you can actually find that the Rock This Bitch that was almost this complete song that he just made up off the top of his head on YouTube. But I think the final product is just this weirdly beautiful, touching song that is also kind of funny.
Well, Dave has a lot of power here.
All right, I'll finish this off here. My second, I'll be pretty brief on this one. My second runner-up is You Don't Know Me. I love a duet, especially like a male-female duet. I'm a sucker for those. I think that song is really fun, and I do love singing the Regina Spektor part in concert. Just
What?
the fact that like the whole audience sings it and knows it is so fun. My second runner-up, or my first, that was my second runner-up. My first runner-up is a song that no one's mentioned yet. Kylie from Connecticut. I don't know. I think I'm gravitating towards like the sad songs maybe a little more. But I like that one. And then my first one, now I'm sitting here in my hotel room. It's Cologne for a lot of the versions, or for a lot of the reasons that Joe said, including the I know I said it wrong joke that I was going to make that he completely undercut. And that's it.
All right. With that amazing comeback, Cologne, maybe with Before as well, is our winner here. Nobody mentioned the ongoing comical feud between the mayor of Effingham and Ben Folds for his song Effington, though, which was a real thing for a while, right? That was a good thing. I saw the invitation that he had to invite Ben Folds to the city to discuss all the effing problems that apparently he viewed their city to have, but I did not see the update here from October 22nd, 2008, when the mayor of the city granted Ben Folds the keys to the city cemetery so he could bury him in Effington, which is quite funny.
It's
So
amazing.
didn't see that follow-up, but that's good stuff.
That was fun.
All right, 2 to go. Okay,
Definitely the strongest two, saving the best for last.
Yeah, I was gonna say these might be quicker. We'll see. So, what matters
Time's
most? 2023. So we got a 15-year jump here when he was doing all the collaboration stuff, reforming BFF. Dan, you get to kick off what matters most. Good luck.
All right, let's get this BFBB opinion out of the way. Yeah, it didn't resonate a whole lot. And in fact, I kind of struggled to pick one I really liked. So I'm going to give it to Back to Anonymous. I think the lyrics are enjoyable, even though it feels like something that should be in some kind of like Western movie. But applause for bringing in that strong harmonica, which feels super great. So
Strong harmonica is my fave.
Back to Anonymous for me.
Okay.
Back to Anonymous.
Yeah, this is a tough one, right? This is a weird album. Um, I there's like two songs on this album that I can deal with. The one is Fragile. So I'm gonna say that's like honorable mention or number two. It's kind of a sad song, or it makes me sad because it's like, he's talking about someone he cares about and who is fragile and he's kind of walking on eggshells to be with, and I hate that. It sucks. And so that would be number two. And then Exhausting Lovers number one.
Trying to tell me something?
Read
No.
into that what you will.
All right. Well, my honorable mention for this album is But Wait, There's More, which I believe is the opening track. This is a song that kind of hit extra hard last time we saw him live, given the current political landscape. And it's weird because this album was released in 2023 before a certain president was reelected, but this song feels very much like it is a reaction to a second term from said president. So it's oddly prescient in a way. Like I said, definitely kind of hits harder now. And my number one pick off this album is Moments, which is the last track, and features a duo known as Tall Heights. Oh, I disappeared, but I'm wearing their hoodie. They are a kind of electronic folk duo that Alexis and I have seen open for Ben Folds a couple times, and they're fantastic in their own right. They do like some amazing harmonies together, which are kind of featured on this last track. And actually, one of the times we saw Ben Folds on this tour, they both opened for him and served as members of his backing band. So they, played some instruments. One of them plays guitar, one of them plays cello. They both have lovely singing voices. So I just appreciate that they got featured on this album a little bit. And yeah, that's about all I have to say about this album.
All right. I'm with you guys in general that this is not his strongest effort. There's a few that I like though. Christine from the seventh grade is my second runner-up because you're talking about, you know, modern politics and how they affect us in our everyday lives, and I think that's a really interesting take on it. Exhausting Lovers, my first runner-up. That song's a fucking bop, and it's fun to sing along with. There's I don't know, there's all kinds of music that I will play like with my kids in the van and not care, but for some reason that one I skipped. That one's a little too much when she's slapped me in the ass like my dad did when I was a bad kid or whatever. Like, I'm just gonna skip this one for now. Um, and then number one for me is one that Alexis mentioned. It's Fragile, which is it's not my favorite song by him by any means. And it's not even I don't even like it that much like musically, but I like the theme of it. Well, I don't basically that person that he's singing about is sort of my worst fear of how I am in a relationship sometimes. And so I don't know, I'm being a little vulnerable here, but basically that's why that song is meaningful to me. Um and I both like it and don't like it for that reason. But it's my pick for this one.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I believe, yep, I didn't choose any runners up on this one, so no honorable mentions here. Not a fantastic album, I don't believe. My pick on this one was Exhausting Lover as well, clenching it for our victory on this particular album. I thought it was kind of a funny song in and of its a way, depending on how you look at this. I hope I mean, it's probably autobiographical. It sounds like this guy's got a lot of experience with relationships as well, but Alexis, cover your ears for this next 30 seconds, okay? This definitely sounds like a Joe Janka relationship. That's the note I was saying was coming up here, Joe, so be ready. This got to be somebody you dated at some point.
What?
Got to be. She knows
I
all
don't
these
know.
stories. She's been married to you long enough. It's okay. Got to
Sounds
be
accurate.
somebody that you dated at some point. It's both funny and ironic at the same time. It's like you want the action, but you also don't want the action of this relationship. So it's just kind of out there, left to be what it is. So
You're
there it
not
is.
wrong.
Of course I'm not. So
Joe just being like, I'm done. I just can't. I just don't. Oh.
It's true. It's true.
that's funny. All right. Well,
Yeah.
it all
Someday
comes
you can
down
all
to
read about it
this.
in my book if I ever finish it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. Finish that book.
Finish
Rocking the
that
Suburbs 2 is the parenthetical title of this last album, but officially it's known as Slayer. This is from 2024.
I think officially it's known as No Seriously Guys, I really need to pay off that 2016 Honda CRV for my divorce.
Listen, okay,
This is interesting.
this is a fine album. This is a Christmas album. It's Slayer. Shh. You'll have your turn, sir. It's sleigh, like a sleigh, like you would have a horse-drawn carriage. Slayer.
It
It's
is a clever play on words.
clever, Ben Folds, and I actually like this. I hadn't really listened to it because I was like, okay, Ben Folds, all right, whatever. But I listened to it, and there's a couple that are a little, they're stinkers, but there's a couple really good ones. He does a cover of the Christmas song, which I thought was interesting because it's mostly guitar, right? And for a guy who doesn't really play guitar much, that's a choice. I thought that was pretty good. And also, there's a couple of, for me, my honorable mentions will be the instrumental. There's one called Waiting for Snow, which I really liked. And it was nice to listen to last night when we went camping, and we were getting ready to have snow, and it was, quiet out and whatever.
You're over there
And
listening for a nice calming snow to hit the tent. Joe's
yes,
over there drawing
yeah,
dicks on the wall.
he was like, oh, good. And then also Little Drummer Bolero, I really liked. So those are kind of my two honorable mentions. And then of course, so my number one is Me and Maurice. I don't know if you guys know this. I like dogs. Dogs are my favorite people. And it's about him and his dog walking through, a suburb and experiencing Christmas and what it's like to, you know, do that and be kind of alone and or experience it. So, it made me, think of my dog who's laying right next to me right now and being a good boy. And I liked it. And his dog's really cute. His name is Maurice, and I like it. So there you go.
This sure is an album that Ben Folds released. So I have an honorable mention, which is Waiting for Snow, which is a nice little instrumental piece. It feels like a lovely winter interlude, or a winterlude, if you will.
Oh,
Oh. And then my top pick is also Me and Maurice. Fuck you, Ben Folds, for writing a song about your dog. Um, for similar reasons to what Alexis said, I also love dogs. I mean, I also like that this. I am also a sad boy at heart, and this is kind of a melancholy song about, being kind of lonely and not really having anyone to hang out with except his dog Maurice. But, it's better than not having anyone at all, I guess.
All right, I'm up next. We're really in with a banger, aren't we? Um, I listened to this album for the first time this morning. I listened to this album for the last time this morning. Um,
Oh,
my honorable mention is Me and Maurice. I'm not a pet person at all, as most of you guys know. But I just liked it musically. It has like echoes of other Ben Folds songs I've liked, really. And then my top one, and not by much, was We Could Have This because it was a male-female duet, and I'm a sucker for male-female duets. I did enjoy the instrumental ones too. But like I said, I really don't see myself returning to this album even around Christmas time or anything. I don't know.
that's fair. Same.
Very fair.
I have to ask myself what the fuck you guys were listening to when you listened to this album because you guys are way, way off the mark with your comments so far on this one. So, Dan, I hope you're in my camp here. Let's set them straight if we can to
Nope.
finish this up. Okay, thanks, Dan. Appreciate that, Dan. My honorable mention for sure, Christmas Time Rhyme, which no one has even mentioned yet somehow, which seems like one of the greatest tragedies of the 21st century, but there's that. It's my runner-up because I chose to do a runner-up on this album, so that's my runner-up. And the top song, and this one is a legitimate concrete number one. Come on, you guys. Ben Folds cover of the classic Christmas song, The Christmas Song. It's fantastic. He does it justice. It's good. That's my winner. Album notes on this one say mostly forgettable Christmas album, and Dave says watch the Chair Company show. So that's what I have down for comments here.
All right. Well, what can I say that hasn't been said?
Well, you're going to pick one side or the other, Dan, and this is going to end it, so pick well.
Okay. Well, what the hell is my high level notes on this? I mean,
I would love if Dan had like a 3-page diatribe he wrote up on this album.
Oh yeah. Well, hold on. Buckle your seatbelt. So obviously some honorable mention for Waiting for Snow. Again, it's a really great orchestral for like this type of theme. Me and Maurice would have to be the standout song for me. But let's get off the tracks here and say this. We could have this. I don't know who Lindsay Kraft is, but I would prefer never to listen to her again. I'm like considering that the other duets he had were phenomenal. I don't know what the hell kind of shit the bed situation happened here, but no.
Oh my
Um,
God.
And then someone needs to explain to me immediately what this Christmas I shit is. Like,
Oh, that's terrible, isn't it? It's bad.
is there a
Yeah.
background to this? Did he lose a bet or something and have to do this?
No,
Like,
he lost a 2016 Honda CRV.
did he make the song with that Honda CRV? Because that's the only explanation. Like, so out of a Christmas album that was like mostly okay, except for kicking this Lindsay lady to the curb. I don't know what happened with this Christmas I. Like I was fully in a mode, and then this was like someone threw cold water on me.
Oh, wow. Christmas I. Make sure I listen to that one again. That's good stuff.
Actually,
I
don't.
I do have breaking news.
Oh no.
So apparently, in the terms of the divorce, it read, the wife shall receive all right, title, and interest in and to the 2016 Honda CRV, which she drives, which is titled in the husband's name, free and clear of any claims from the husband. The husband shall receive all right, title, and interest in and to the 2005 Honda Accord EX, which he drives, which is titled in his own name.
So he
At
won
least
out.
as of 2023, Ben Folds was driving a 2005 Honda Accord.
Thank goodness.
I mean,
If he's
Thanks
paying
for the update
alimony
on that
to
one,
five
Joe.
ex-wives, I guess, I don't know.
yeah.
Yikes. 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 Yikes.
Well, I'm looking forward to his upcoming album. Alimony sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess me and Maurice takes an easy W on that one to wrap up this final album
Wait
here.
until
So,
Maurice files for divorce.
ooh, then he'd be back to, what is the song? Bitch Got Nuts or whatever it was. Bitch Went Nuts. That'd be the song. Part 2.
Yeah, Bitch Got Nuts is a different song.
Bitch Went Nuts. Story of My Dog and I. All right. Okay, I think that is the wrap up here for the solos. So, real quick recap our ultimate mixtape for Ben Folds' solo album here, starting with Rocking the Suburbs. We got Still Fighting It. We have songs for Silverman with Landed, Super Sunny Speed Graphic. There's Always Someone Cooler Than You. Way Too Normal. We have Before and possibly During, but definitely not After Cologne as our winner there. And then What Matters Most, Exhausting Lover, and from Slayer, me and Maurice. So there we go. All right. Anybody have any concluding Ben Fold thoughts for this podcast? Oh, I did want to ask you guys as a question, actually. Where do you think he goes from here? I did actually want to ask that as a legit question. Do you think he's going to continue to make a lot of music, less music, solo? Is BFF going to happen again? Where do you think he's going?
Well, to make a quick joke based on our last discussion, I think he's going to Thailand so he can create the song Bitch Got Nuts.
That's fair. Honestly, I saw that you had kind of posed that as a discussion point in the notes before we recorded, and I don't know what I want Ben Folds to do in the future. I mean, I think he's definitely going to keep touring a bunch. I would kind of like to see another Ben Folds 5 reunion, honestly. I think that could be an interesting way to kind of shake things up for him creatively, to try to collaborate with the other guys a little bit. I just want I'm going to say this, make Ben Folds great again. Like, I disagree with Dave that the Nick Hornby collaboration was his last great album. I do think So There had a lot of good stuff, but that was already fully 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I know I've made a lot of jokes about the divorce, but I honestly think there might be something to the fact that he has been cranking stuff out to try to, raise some funds to help pay for that. And I hope he manages to respark his artistic creativity, and if he does release another studio album, that he manages to do something that is worthy of his greater output.
I do also think that he's one of those people that can't not work. Like, he has to be doing something, or
Yeah.
like being creative in some way, and he's not doing right? Kennedy
Kennedy
Center
Center.
stuff
Yeah, he
anymore.
was the chair of the Kennedy Center for a couple of years, and
Right.
like I mentioned earlier, he's done a lot of stuff to like help with music education. Like he has been actively
Yeah.
involved in like a lot of programs around that. So
So I think
like
that
when
would be
he's
cool.
yeah.
Whatever he does or doesn't do in the future, I will forever be glad that he did not die in 1998,
Oh,
like I
No.
once thought, which would have led to missing out on so much over the
I
years.
Mhm.
would have never even really discovered him. That would have been
Yeah.
tragic.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have discovered him eventually, but yeah.
Maybe at 6 a.m. day after Christmas.
Maybe. Okay, is that it? We got anything else?
Is that going to be on his Boxing Day album?
There you go.
Well done, Dave.
I
Thank
like
you.
that. I like that.
Mhm.
I just want to say it once again, if you have the chance to see Ben Folds live in any configuration, go do it. If he is playing with an orchestra near you, that is especially fun.
It's
Check
always
out
fun.
the TV series You're the Worst, which should be available on Hulu. It is genuinely one of my favorite TV shows of all time and features some Ben Folds.
Yep. There's no chance to catch this guy. But as we're recording this, if you wanted to, tomorrow you could go to Champaign, Illinois, where he's performing.
Get on it, Cody.
And then the next day, performing in Marion, Illinois. And then headed over to Flint, Michigan and Shipshewana, Indiana.
And
You guys going to Flint? Go see him?
I'm telling you guys that CRV is not going to pay for it.
Dave, if you can manage to last in Seattle till December 4th, he will be there if this project goes long.
Okay, we'll see. This was a
Boy.
lot of fun. Thank you, guys.
yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
a lot of
It's
fun.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. The full discography of Ben Folds. This has been the Found Pod, Friends Occasionally Not Disagreeing. I'm Cody, that's Dan, that's Dave, that's Alexis, that's Joe. We will see you all next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.